Deputy Speaker, I listened carefully to all those who spoke before me on both sides, and they did speak with great passion. And those who spoke on the other side are some of the members that I hold in high regard and consider more than colleagues, and some of them friends. But when I listened to their contributions to this debate, I saw an example of how their deference to discipline of the talking points of their party takes over. And it's a formula that we see again and again. When an argument comes up that you don't like, you call it misinformation. When it's a topic that you'd rather we don't want to talk about, you say this is you attack the person and not the idea. You say this is engaged in the wrong tone, or it's an exercise in anger and division. So don't even go to the topic. But on this particular topic, the topic of competence in our immigration system, that's a fundamental one. It's fundamental because it goes to more than just our economy. It goes to who we are. And when we look to the census, the last census, it told us a lot about who we are. It told us that more than 50% of Australians either have one or both parents born overseas, or they themselves are. And in electorates that are closer to the city, like mine, it's even higher. In my electorate, Deputy Speaker, 70% of people are first- or second-generation migrants. And, Deputy Speaker, I myself am a migrant. I wasn't born here. I remember sitting with my dad, in fact, lying on a bed with it's raining, and he's telling me stories about his travels in the world. And the place that he spoke most fondly of was Australia, and said that one day we might get to go there. And we did because of the generosity of Australians there then. And the generosity of Australians there then was founded not just on a sense of compassion and self-interest. That's a given. It was founded on a belief that the system is run well. We can't have a generous, compassionate migration scheme if it's not run competently. Those two go together. So when we stand up and have a matter of public importance and put to the government that the system is not being run competently, the government should take notice. Because if they don't, then we may not have a generous, compassionate migration scheme going forward, because we must have public legitimacy behind it. In fact, it's the only thing that has ever backed it up. And, Deputy Speaker, we have a housing crisis at the moment. We have a housing crisis. And there is no silver bullet or lever that we can pull that will instantly solve it. But there is one that comes close. There is one that comes close, and it is having a proportionate migration scheme. And a proportionate migration scheme means that we are having the numbers that are coming here are proportionate to our interests, what the economy needs, and what our society can cope with at that time. I come from the great city of Melbourne, and much of our migration system sees people go to that city because it's one of the world's great cities, and I'm very proud of it. But it is struggling right now. It is struggling to build enough schools, enough hospitals, enough infrastructure. We're even struggling to keep it clean. For those of you who land in Tullamarine, go down the Eastern Freeway. It is covered in graffiti and rubbish. Trees are cut down. It's not the city I remember it, Deputy Speaker. It's not at its best. It's unwell. It's unwell because it's struggling to cope. It's struggling to cope. So when we put to this government, are you running a migration scheme that is proportionate to our capacity to build all of the things that we need, to preserve green space? To preserve green space? The answer is no. The answer is no. And when the government tries to address those questions, they engage in rhetorical devices and straw man devices. And Australians deserve better than that. They do. And they'll resort to that old tactic that they use against this side all the time, which is to tear down the character of whoever is sitting in that chair for the Liberal Party. It's easier than engaging in the ideas. It's easier than actually doing the hard work, in actually running a competent system that is in the national interest for this country and that Australians want and desperately deserve. Right now, our immigration system is broken, Deputy Speaker, and we're calling on the government to at least recognise it, turn up here and have the debate, and instead of saying, well, what did you do in the last 10 years? Because we're well past that. This term's almost up, and it is time that this government showed up.